Welcome if you're on Zoom or if you're on Facebook or if you're on YouTube. Let's start off by taking a quick look at the charts, which are very interesting. I'm going to go over here. So we've been following for some time. I'm going to extend this line out. I can't, if you go back and watch in the archive, this line has been extended out quite a few times. And we keep it, this area of support and resistance and this area of support and resistance keep coming into play over and over again. And I don't know, they may keep coming into play over and over again. It's hard to know, but we had I don't remember our last call. I think we were right in this area. And then, from here we went up. This was a bizarre day. We were up at one point 100 points, fell back quite a bit, still up, but anyway, kind of, penetrated this resistance, but it didn't hold even for the day. And then now here we are all the way back down to this area of support. So hard to know what's going to happen here. This is, kind of going deeply into this area of support. And by the way, these areas I draw of support and resistance, these yellow, I do them like this rather than a single line like this, because I think of them that way. I think of them as areas, not very specific numbers. If you try to nail these specifically, it just never works. There are people out there who'll tell you, oh, this is, 36, 50, 42 is a area of support. Like, I think that's baloney, because what will happen is you'll start to see it, but it will be in the area, not exactly. So I draw them that way sometimes. A lot of times I don't. When, I'm doing this more again for illustrative purposes for you all. But if I were doing this, I might just draw a line, and you'll see there's a lot of lines on my charts. But I think of them in my mind. I'm thinking of them as an area, not as a very specific number. So in this case, here we are back down into this area, and this is a pretty powerful bar. It's coming pretty deep into the into the zone there. Getting below, and at this point though, it has not been backed up with a lot of institutional volume, and that's the interesting thing to me. That's why we're not seeing red on the E.W.S chart, because it's not really, there's not heavy volume right here, at least not at this point. Now, the institutional buyers or sellers could come in at any point in time. My thought is that if we blow through this area, if we go down again tomorrow, we're probably going all the way down to here. This would be sort of the next area of support that's significant. So my guess is that if we were to have a follow-through day tomorrow, and we go down lower, we probably end up coming all the way down here. On the other hand, we could bounce tomorrow right off this area of support. So I'm not, we talk about this a lot. I trade more according to the E.W.S signals than I do anything else. But I am kind of watching it, and I am going to make a bit of a discretionary call today when we get to a trade. You'll see we've got a couple greens. This was actually yellow, the one yesterday, at the time we got our, I think, am I wrong on that, Mike?
Yeah, it was yellow all the way up till close to close.
Till the very end of the day, yeah. And a lot of that was because you may, if you're watching any of the calendar stuff we talked about, so there was a FOMC meeting and there was Fed announcements yesterday. And when the market started to digest that, things started moving up. And then they moved back down. It was a bizarre day. You can see the range yesterday. And then, of course, today, back down again. But at this point, again, not backed up by a lot of institutional volume and not backed up by a lot of institutional put buying. So we're still green, but I'm going to be cautious because of how this looks. So, I've said that in the rules here, we're looking for kind of 2 to 3 greens before we go off of the previous color. So when we have yellow, you don't just go off of one green, it's 2 to 3 greens. And I'm gonna be more conservative today and say let's have 3 greens before we come off of the yellow. So we're going to enter a trade today, but we're going to respect the yellow still. So hopefully that makes sense. When we see an E.W.S color like red or yellow, when in other words we see this warning, or even a caution flag, we wait till we have 2 to 3 greens before we stop respecting that caution flag. And so, if I were seeing a better pattern up here, I might go with the 2 greens, but today I'm gonna be more cautious. And all that means, that all that means with the yellow is we're just gonna be flat deltas. So that's okay. We're still gonna have theta. We're still gonna, you'll see that we've been flat deltas for quite a few, over a week here, and our trade's doing just fine. And we're up. We continue to be up more and more. So we'll look at the trade in a minute, but anyway, this is kind of what we're seeing. There is one other thing I'll just, throw out for observation is there's this sort of downward channel going on right here that I've seen some people talk about. I honestly don't pay a ton of attention to these because how you draw the channels, how you draw the lines can be sometimes speculative. And so, but there is a trend line here that seems to be forming. And as a result, there's people out there who are paying attention and watching, like, are we going to break above this trend line? Or are we in fact bouncing off this trend line and just going to stay below it? Obviously, I don't know the answer, but I would probably, if we broke above this significantly, just like if we broke above the 200-day moving average, there's no magic to those things. The only reason they're interesting is because other people are watching them. So you may see other people come in and a bunch of buyers come in or whatever when we see those trend changes, not because there's magic to the lines, but because those lines are what other people are paying attention to. So right now I'm sort of paying attention to this area of support, especially because that's where price is. The 200-day moving average, which we've bounced off of twice now, and the this little trend line, we'll kind of pay some attention to that. Obviously trading off our E.W.S signals, but this is a good example of where we'll use these other patterns to inject some discretion, like using the 3rd green instead of the 2nd green before we ship anything. So just our standard disclaimer, My Trading Solution is not a broker dealer. We don't recommend buying or selling stocks or any other types of trading, equities or futures or anything. Everything we do is for educational purposes only. If you do decide at some point to trade with your own money, please do so understanding the risks that are involved in trading, whether it's stocks or options or Forex or futures or anything else. Be very careful, and the name of the game is don't lose money. So if you continue listening, we assume you agree. Okay.